This is video number 2 on the project of creating a CMS, a content management system, from scratch. So for today's video, I've started working a little bit on the UI, a little bit on the page structure, but then mostly I shifted over to message and UI elements. So things like alerts, tags, buttons, and the coloring and styling that goes along with them. So since the last video, I've only modified 2 files. I modified the main template file, so in the files folder, the default.aspx file. I copied in some boilerplate HTML here for a favicon, but I don't have any favicons yet, so I don't actually have an icon or any PNGs here. This is just a placeholder for the future. And then I also added in some HTML for structure, and then I created some example content, and I'll go over that in just a second. Switching over to the CSS file, I looked at a number of different fonts. I looked at 6 or 8 different fonts, and I settled on this one called Hind or Hind, Hind, found it on Google Fonts, copied the font files over along with the license file, and that's what I'm using by default. So here I have a global rule. Sorry, let me select the right line. I have a global rule here, just kind of standardizing some positioning, colors, standardizing font family, font size for everything. So then I'll have to go back through the tags and adjust font size for anything that should differ, setting a default line height, which is relative to the font size, and then clearing out all margin and padding from all elements. And then I've got a section of the CSS file here for tags and pseudo elements, and then I've got a section here that is primarily around the overall page structure. So this is looking at things like background images or background colors, containers around the entire page, the header section, main section, footer section, and their corresponding containers, and so forth. And then I get down into more custom class names. So this first section is all around buttons, and the second section is all around notices. On the right-hand side of the screen, these are notices, and it's a combination of different colors and dark and non-dark variants. And then here in some of the other example content where I have things like unordered lists and unordered lists inside of a block quote, I have the same messages but in an inline style, so they appear to be more like tags. And then at the very bottom of the page, I have span elements that are styled to look and behave kind of like buttons because they have hover and active states in addition to their resting state. For now, I have the resting state of the buttons matching the resting state of the notices, and I'll probably maintain that even if I do tweak the colors a little bit in the future. I would say overall I probably spent 2.5 hours on this work, 2 hours of which was modifying hex codes and tweaking these colors a little bit at a time. I might change the colors in the future, but I think this is good enough to proceed with. So from here I can shift back away from the specifics like colors on the UI side and shift back into the coding and the logic. And as we get the CMS built out, you'll see these again as I pull in notices, buttons, and tags as interactive elements of the CMS itself. So that is my update, and I think it's good progress for a quick evening's work.